This is a thought that probably has crossed all of our minds at one time. And the thought is, if there's just one God, why are there so many religions? That's going to be the talk this Sunday at the Betty Strong Encounter Center, 2 o'clock. That's the usual time when they have these great programs there. God and autobiography. Going to talk with Dr. Jerry L. Martin. That's on the way here on Drive Time Live. And Fred Hexum at the bottom of the hour to talk about when it is going to finally feel like spring. Baird Private Wealth Management with a look at the stocks, and JB may check in with a look at sports as well. It's all here for you as you drive home on KSCJ. It's Drive Time Live.
Spring is here and savings are in the air at Fashion Floors Carpet One. Come in now for our Spring Savings Flooring event. Buy one room of Slike Shaw Tigressa carpets and get the second room free. That's right, buy one room, get one free. Now's the perfect time to save on carpet, luxury vinyl, hardwood, tile, and more. Plus, we offer 36-month special financing. Spring into savings at Fashion Floors Carpet One, located at 305 West 7th Street, Sioux City.
Attention Iowans, before you invest, double check to shield your savings. Learn how to protect yourself from scammers who want to take your money or investments. Join Iowa Insurance Commissioner Doug Oman for the Iowa Fraud Fighters free informational lunch forum at the Sioux City Convention Center Thursday, May 3rd at noon. RSVP today by calling 1-866-559-7114 or go to iowafraudfighters.gov. Fraud Fighters is an educational program not funded by any tax dollars.
Prepare for launching.
This is Drive Time Live with Mark Hahn on AM 1360, FM 94.9 KSCJ. For a recap of today's biggest news stories, stocks, sports, weather, and more, here's Mark Hahn.
All right, 14 after 5 and 26 degrees. When will it warm up? Fred Hexum at the bottom of the hour will answer that question. Coming up Sunday, 2 o'clock at the Betty Strong Encounter Center, Dr. Jerry Martin is going to be the guest speaker. And, of course, it's always free to get in. 2 o'clock at the Betty Strong Encounter Center. Former head of the National Endowment for the Humanities. And, boy, you have quite a resume there, Dr. Martin.
Yeah, a checkered career, you might say, in academia and government and so forth.
A checkered career. All right.
Yeah, done this, done that. Did run a federal agency and was a professor of philosophy.
And you taught at such prestigious universities as Georgetown University in D.C., also Colorado Boulder Philosophy Department. You were the chair there at the University of Colorado Boulder. You've taught graduate public policy program, as I said, at Georgetown University. Matter of fact, I have a son that's going to school again after he graduated from Iowa State. He's an officer in the Air Force, and he is going to school in D.C. too. And
good.
Yeah, he's furthering his career. He's taking. I always get it wrong when I say it, but it's like city government kind of thing. Only he's the one that sets the standard that everybody else has got to follow.
Oh, maybe it's urban planning and that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think it is. It's like urban planning kind of thing. And I said, there, it's typical for you, Captain, that you just want another job that you can boss everybody around.
But you'll find that's hard to do.
Yeah, no kidding there. It's not the same as the military where they say, yes, sir, salute and do what you say. All right. So let's talk a little bit about this. It was an interesting conversation we had when we first lined this up for you to tell us about your talk. We talked about, and this is presented in cooperation with Wayne State College as well here, right?
Yes, that's right.
And it's going to...
I'll be speaking there on Monday.
It's going to address this program, 2 o'clock at the Betty Strong, address what philosophers call the program of the diversity of revelations.
That's a typo, the problem of the diversity of revelations. Yeah, if one revelation is great, but many revelations is an embarrassment. I mean, you'd think if there's one God, then there'd be one religion. One revelation, one religion, that would be the whole story. But you look around the world, it's not the whole story. There are a lot of, quote, revelations, enlightenments, and so forth in different cultures, different times, different traditions. And so, what's going on with that, you might say? How is one to sort that out
Well, some faiths, as you well know, some faiths take the Shia and the Sunni, for example, in the Muslim faith. They believe in Muhammad. They believe in that, but they have different ways that they approach it. One is based on Muhammad's uncle. And the other one is, Muhammad himself. So who's right? So that's a fraction within the religion itself. You don't find Catholics saying that, there's Jesus Christ and then somebody else. Of course, you believe in the Trinity. But, that's an interesting philosophy. If there's only one God, if you believe that there is only one true God, no matter what faith you are, why so many different faiths? Why not just one faith?
Yeah, for whatever your faith is. If you're Muslim, if you're Christian, if you're Jew, if you're Hindu, whatever, you have this kind of problem of, well, how do I count for the others? And the simple answer would be, well, I'm right, they're wrong. And that's the natural human default on anything, in politics, religion, anything you want to name. I'm right, my group is right. If I'm a Mennonite, I think the Mennonites have it right, and everybody else has it wrong. If I'm a Shiite Muslim, I think they've got it right. Everybody else is wrong. But there must be a bigger picture here. And one way to put it is, well, what was God up to anyway? In giving one scripture to one people, and yet you look over halfway around the world at the same time, people were having deeply spiritual experiences of a different kind. So how do you reconcile those? And one answer is to say, well, some just got it wrong, but that seems sort of too simple an answer.
Well, sure, because they're going to be pointing back at you and say, no, you have it wrong.
Exactly. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, each one kind of cancels each other out. And so you need a bigger answer than that. And philosophers and theologians have tried out several different answers that we'll be talking about. And I'll be suggesting one that actually came to me through prayer. I pray. I'm a praying man. I believe in God. I was an agnostic, almost an atheist, and didn't believe in God when I actually had the experience of praying and getting an answer in words.
Yeah. So that changed you? You said and I know this from our prior conversation too. You said you were agnostic, which means you didn't believe in one God or another, one faith.
Yeah, there is no reality higher than the ceiling.
Sure.
And from this experience that was just of undeniable reality, I thought, well, that worldview is wrong. There is more. And the more that came to me, the aspect, might say that the side of divine reality that came to me was a God who can talk to us and relate to us, and in a kind of vivid and personal way, and a God who cares about our lives. Well, if that's so, why is God doing something different with somebody else, halfway around the world or 2,000 years ago? What's going on there? And the book I wrote that I'll be making available at my talks is God, an Autobiography as Told to a Philosopher, because it's a record of my prayers with God, the questions I asked, and the answers I received. And I don't claim this is infallible, but it has a kind of sort of revelational aspect insofar as I'm seriously asking questions, and I'm writing down the answers as best they come through to this human receiver, and was told to share that with others.
No doubt that your questions to the divine creator are going to be different than my questions. Like mine would be, how come I didn't win the lottery yet?
Right.
But they say that, God answers your prayers in the strangest way. So, maybe his answer to me, why haven't you won the lottery yet, is because it would change your life in a bad way, Mark. We don't want that to happen.
Every story I read, it destroys their lives. Suddenly they're a multimillionaire.
Well, yeah.
And everyone is after them.
Sure. They're not only after them for their money, but they could be after you for kidnapping reasons or real bad reasons. So,
and just plain old envy.
Yeah, that's it.
But anyway, we each have our own kind of spiritual life in relation to the divine, and it's always a drama. It's not predictable. It's It's a drama in which we and God are partners, and it unfolds in unpredictable ways. And all we can do is just put one foot in front of the other, seeking the divine, illumination of our lives as best we can discern it. But it's always an adventure, always has a large element of kind of existential uncertainty in it.
Now, you are also a coordinator of the Theology Without Walls, kind of like, is that like Doctors Without Borders?
Well, yeah, except the walls here are not political borders.
Mm-hmm.
If there's a bigger story, and if God was at work in multiple traditions, then theology, this is, a project for theologians. Theology has to be done a different way. Theology traditionally is, if I'm a Mennonite, I give you the Mennonite story. I'm an interpreter of the Mennonite tradition. And if I'm a Hindu of certain stripe, say a follower of Krishna, I give you, and that Hindu theologian explicates the Krishna tradition. But suppose there's divine illumination in both, say, the Christian story, the Jewish story, and the Krishna story, and the Buddhist story. Well, the theologian's job is to give the most complete account possible of all the divine insights, illuminations, epiphanies, revelations, enlightenment, put them together in some way, sort out the valid from the invalid, and then give you a bigger picture. And that was a project that grew out of God and Autobiography. It's rather taken hold because this is a pressing concern in the world we live in today. We do live in a global village. I go on the internet in forums or something, and I find the guy I'm talking to is living in Hong Kong or Bangalore or somewhere, places I haven't even heard of. And yet we're all part of one world. We know the same movies. They all seem to know the Hollywood movies. We listen to the same music, and we're all aware of each other's religions now. You were mentioning the Sunnis and the Shiites. 20 years ago, I don't know if I'd heard of the Sunnis and the Shiites. But, now it's, for one thing, people live next door. You can have Hindus and Buddhists and Christians and Jews and Muslims all living in the same metropolitan area, maybe in the same neighborhood even sometimes. So we live in a different world where these questions now become very pertinent.
Is it just a matter of interpretation as to how each religion looks at God, at a deity, whether it's God the Father, Son, and Holy Ghost, as the Catholic and Christian faiths would believe in, or God as one of many gods, as the Hindu do? I mean, you look at it, and so does it boil down to interpretation? Because you can start a rumor at one end of a line, and by the time it gets to the other end of the line, it's completely changed.
Yeah. That's certainly an element of the situation. What came to me in my prayers that are reported in the book is that the divine reality is actually many-sided. Of course, human interpretation plays a big role in the differences because we have a whole, in the Western tradition, we have a whole different vocabulary than they do in China or ancient India. So, of course, we're going to say things differently, but also there's this further aspect that God was actually showing different aspects of the total divine reality. In other words, God is bigger than any one religion.
We have time do you want to take a call?
Oh, that'd be wonderful.
All right, we have just a little bit of time. So, hi, you're on Drive Time Live with Dr. Mark.
Hello, Mark and Doctor. I appreciate the time. Real quick, I've done some reading on a certain group of an organization that is worldwide, and they talk about the Illuminati. If you could maybe help me to understand just what that is, or what that
well, there's
might be, I would appreciate it.
All right, thank you for your call.
Throughout history, there have been certain groups that felt they had a secret truth that was the sort of code of everything. I'm going to say unlock the hidden secrets of all ultimate questions. And the Illuminati are one such group. Often it became a kind of conspiracy theory idea, thinking this secret group was trying to take over. but it's not generally studied as considered a major philosophical or religious tradition. But it's certainly a striking social phenomenon. And if somebody does have the secret truth, of course, that would be interesting.
Yeah, exactly. Share it with us so we all know the same thing. The Illuminati were the enlightened ones. They were the bright ones, the ones who were so much smarter than everyone else. And
there
to lead it.
Traditions like this around at the time of Christ, or in the subsequent century, who felt they had a secret code to how to understand the mission of Jesus, for example, that was very unorthodox, let's say.
Dr. Jerry Martin, my guest here, and you don't want to miss this, and it's a free reception afterwards, 2 o'clock this Sunday at the Betty Strong Encounter Center, and you'll find the book there too, God, an Autobiography as Told to a Philosopher, you being the philosopher. Dr. Martin, thank you for taking time and being with me today here on Drive Time Live.
Thank you very much, Mark.
All right, travel safe, sir.
Okay.